British economy is under attack.
Massive gaps in M&S and in Co-op, totally empty shelves.
From cybercriminals demanding ransoms.
They'd be looking for between $2.7 and $5.3 million.
Panorama goes inside the two agencies trying to keep us safe.
Come to the door!
It's going to be the worst year on record for ransomware attacks in the UK, for sure.
We have exclusive access with the spies fighting the hackers.
They're just constantly finding organisations on a bad day and then taking advantage of them.
A cyber war with the highest stakes.
The hackers threaten to contaminate the water.
Ransomware is the biggest cybercrime threat there is. It's a national security threat.
It looks like any other London office block, but this is the front line in the fight against cybercrime.
We entrust our devices with everything, our communications, our identities, our finances.
The National Cyber Security Centre is part of GCHQ. No journalists have been allowed to film with the spies here before.
So we're inside the National Cyber Security Centre, and as you might imagine, we're very heavily supervised. But we're the first TV crew to be given access here. And these are the people who are fighting ransomware.
The secret agents can't be identified.
The team that I'm in charge of is really the kind of immediate threat problem. We defend against ransomware, we defend against other attacks. It's a full gamut that the team is doing, and that's everything from protecting people's livelihoods and jobs through to protecting national secrets and essential services.
Disruption at Marks and Spencer's operations after a cyber attack over Easter is still continuing.
This year, we've all seen how much damage ransomware can do. Hackers break into a company's IT network, steal data and lock the system, demanding a ransom to put things back.
Retailers have been warned to stay vigilant after the Co-op was forced to shut down parts of its IT systems to prevent hackers from gaining access.
With such high-profile attacks, the spies have decided it's time to talk.
Why did you think Panorama should come in? Why is it important?
So for us, we've seen essentially the tide of cyber attacks rising over many years. So it's really important for us to get the message out there that we can't solve cybersecurity for the nation. We need organisations to take the steps they need to take to secure their systems, to secure their businesses.
The spies are tech experts who use secret intelligence to try to stay one step ahead of the hackers. They try to warn companies who've been hacked before any ransom software can be activated.
For the ransomware to detonate, we could be looking at, in some cases, a couple of days, could be looking at a couple of hours. So that's why it's immediate priority, because we want to get that information as quickly as we can to prevent that possible risk.
And how satisfying is it if you are able to avert it?
Very. That's normally a very good day in the office.
Early detection matters. Once files are locked by hackers, it's almost impossible for anyone else to unlock them.
Ransomware can be a brutal crime. A gang might attack 10 businesses and get a payment from 3, but all 10 businesses have been seriously hurt.
They don't need every victim to pay, they just need some of them to pay. So it's kind of more like a criminal going down the street and checking car doors to see which ones are happen to be unlocked, rather than going down the street and only looking for Bentleys or BMWs.
M&S in Aberdeen, a business still grappling with the fallout of a cyber attack.
M&S's online store was closed for 7 weeks. The company says the attack has cost it £300 million in lost profits. This summer's cyber attacks have also hurt suppliers.
What is really interesting about this recent cyber attack is that a lot of people don't actually understand the massive impact it hits on the people further down the chain.
Wilfred's company supplies sausages and sauces to supermarkets around the UK.
Massive gaps in M&S and in Co-op, you know, totally empty shelves.
Where your stuff should be.
Where my stuff should be.
Their summer has been blighted by ransomware. As well as their customers, M&S and Co-op, a company that transports their food, was also hacked in a separate attack.
Now, the thing about a sausage is that it has a 7-day shelf life. If it isn't in the shop and it isn't sold, that gets wasted.
So you went through the M&S cyber attack, the Co-op cyber attack, then there was the distributor that hit you as well.
Yeah.
How much has this cost you?
This could be costing us hundreds of thousands, and I'm not exaggerating.
Wow, that
hundreds
much?
of thousands, and that is a lot of money for a small business.
The investigation into the M&S attack is being led by tech specialists at the National Crime Agency. Panorama has had access to this team as well. If prevention hasn't worked, they're called in to investigate.
Sue Grimmer.
Sue Grimmer's team took the first call about the M&S attack.
We did take the initial contact from Marks & Spencer's. We did take the initial assessment in my team. We understood the ramifications of that in its first few days of it happening.
Hacking might not be what you think. Some of the methods don't even involve technology. The M&S hackers got in by blagging, tricking their way into the system.
We're seeing cybercriminals generally actually quite young, sort of teenage, early 20s. They're getting into cybercrime probably through gaming, and they're recognising that their deception skills can be used to con help desks and the like into getting them access into companies.
And that's sort of blagging, isn't it?
Exactly. It's about convincing a help desk that you are an administrator in a company or an employee of a company.
And once they're in, criminals can use ransom software they've bought online to steal data and lock computer systems.
These criminals are becoming far more able to access tools and services that you don't need a specific technical skill set for. Ransomware as a service has become so viable, so accessible. It has lowered the barrier to cyber criminals. I think it's a completely financially motivated crime. And it's a successful business model.
There were an estimated 19,000 ransomware attacks on UK businesses last year. The typical ransom demand was around £4 million. Our personal data is also at risk in these attacks.
The internet is in all of our lives. Our data is everywhere, which means any one of us can get caught up in an attack.
The most significant driver of serious organised crime across all the different crime types is not what the criminals are doing. It's the fact that all of us are more dependent on online services and more available online to be victimised in various ways.
A household name with stores across the UK. And then came the cyber attack.
Marks & Spencer says some personal customer data has been taken. And the Co-op confirmed data was stolen from all its 6.5 million members. That's far from unusual. Huge amounts of stolen personal data is already for sale on the internet.
Unfortunately, one certain type of data is out there. Very limited actions you can take. You can't change your date of birth. You can't change your national insurance. Most people can't change their addresses easily. You can change your telephone number, get a new password. That'll stop some spam emails coming across. But what can you change with your date of birth and national insurance number? Nothing.
The spies are the first line of defence. So what goes on here inside the National Cybersecurity Centre is important to all of us. This spy was on the night shift when a recent attack was spotted.
So the call came in about midnight. It became an immediate priority for us.
How does it feel when you're dealing with an incident like that that's live?
It's quite thrilling because, especially in the middle of the night, you're phoning lots of different people up, you're trying to get in contact, you understand the scale of what's going on and you want to reduce the harm that something like that can provide. So it can be really thrilling, and especially if we're successful in something like that, it can be a great motivator.
The hackers were stopped, but the threat is constant.
Most of the attacks they do are not particularly novel, interesting, or unique. They're not doing anything particularly new or different every time. They're just constantly finding organisations on a bad day and then taking advantage of them. Part of the problem is there's a lot of attackers, there's not that many of us.
Easy to guess passwords and out-of-date technology and software make it simpler for hackers to get in.
As we stand at the moment with ransomware, are the criminals winning?
I don't think I'd say the criminals are winning.
They're doing well though, aren't they?
The criminals are doing well. I think we've seen a wave of cyber attacks, criminal cyber attacks over the last few years that's been sort of steadily growing. At the end of the day, we see so many cyber attacks that aren't successful. You know, sadly, it isn't a surprise when one or two do get through and they create the scale of impact that we've seen.
When the criminal gangs strike, victims can be slow to spot that everything is about to change.
We always got a handover from the night supervisor, so first thing you get out of bed in the morning, cup of tea, bang up the email. The night supervisor had sort of written on there that he'd suffered some challenges through the night with some computer systems not working quite properly.
In 2023, KNP was running 500 trucks, most under the brand name Knights of Old. The company's computer servers were locked, and then a ransom note was found in the system.
If you're reading this, it means the internal infrastructure of your company is fully or partially dead. For now, let's keep all the tears and resentment to ourselves and try to build a constructive dialogue.
So it's gone from something in the morning where people can't log on properly, which we've probably all experienced, to now something that's fundamental to the future of the business. What's that make? How are you feeling?
Pretty scared at that time.
KNP says its IT complied with industry standards, and it had taken out insurance against cyber attacks. The insurers sent a cyber crisis team in to help.
The call came in through the night and we were on site in the first morning. So we were quickly able to determine that all of their data had been encrypted, all of their servers were destroyed, their backups had been destroyed, their disaster recovery had been destroyed, and all of their endpoints, their laptops, their computers had also been compromised.
Wow, so from a technical point of view, it's an almost worst case scenario.
It couldn't have been worse for them in terms of the impact.
The criminal gang, called Akira, said the only way to get the data back was to pay.
The faster you will get in touch, the less damage we cause.
What you need to understand is in this type of moment, you're in business survival mode. So if you've lost all of your data and your backups and disaster recovery, you could go out of business. So it's survival mode. No one wants to pay the ransom. They'll pay it because they have to.
Did you want to pay? Did you personally think if we can pay, we can get back on track?
If we could pay, and if what you were going to pay was going to give you back what you want, why wouldn't you? That was the thing.
Well, because you're paying a criminal gang. You're encouraging them in a way.
You are, and of course the authorities don't really want you to pay. But at the end of the day, this is about 900 people's jobs.
We contacted a ransomware negotiation specialist firm, and they identified that the ransom payment typically it starts at $5 million with Akira, and they'd successfully negotiated 20 cases with Akira with the average payment of $2 million.
KNP simply didn't have the money. So a business set up 158 years ago went bust. All because the criminal gang were able to work out the password of one member of staff.
We believe it was a password breach. We believe but we got the person, who we believe whose password it was that was breached.
Have you ever told them?
No.
Why?
Would you want to know if it was you?
No matter how strong the protection, some cybercriminals will still break through. And because it's such a lucrative crime, more and more hackers are trying to break in.
It's incredibly busy. The demand has increased significantly year on year, whereas before, probably when I started 2 years ago, it was about roughly 20-25 incidents coming in a week. It's now more like 35-40 a week for my team. And I have to say, cybercrime is one of the most difficult and challenging crimes to investigate, for sure. But it's also the most profitable for the criminals.
I think it is one of the fundamental challenges with ransomware that the majority of the criminals are out of reach of Western law enforcement. And there are no exact statistics about this, but I'm pretty confident saying that the majority of them are based in the Russian Federation or in parts of the former Soviet Union where law enforcement are not inclined to go after them.
The National Crime Agency has had success.
Come to the door!
2 years ago, 24 people were arrested when the NCA took down the Genesis network, which was selling passwords and personal details of 80 million people to fraudsters. The agency also led this operation in Spain to arrest a hacker known online as JP Morgan, a Belarusian national accused of running a cybercrime network with a turnover of $34 million. And last year, it took down Lockbit, one of those sites that sells criminals the software that makes hacking easier.
Lockbit used technology as an enabler for their crimes, and we have used technology to hold them to account and expose them.
This Russian, Dmitry Koroshev, was accused of being the man behind Lockbit. There's now a $10 million reward for information leading to his arrest.
So this is the original Lockbit data leak site.
This would be on the dark web.
On the dark web.
And this is where they publish the data that they've stolen.
This is where they publish, well, initially a sort of summary of the data they've stolen.
Working with the FBI and Europol, the NCA took over the gang's website. Lockbit, responsible for around a quarter of all ransomware attacks, was now under the control of law enforcement.
So this was really significant to demonstrate that that could be taken down and to demonstrate that we could unmask the individual behind it. Ransomware is the most significant cybercrime threat we face. It's a national security threat in its own right, both here and throughout the world.
The National Cyber Security Centre offers free security advice. It's issued 200,000 certifications to businesses in its Cyber Essentials scheme. But 5 million UK companies are yet to sign up.
We're focused on how we can raise the defences of organisations, because at the end of the day, that's the best disruption. Just make it hard for them, and then they will go away, they will move on. So raising the level of defences and the level of resilience across our society.
What helps the criminals is ransom attacks can be an almost secret crime. Many companies decide it's better to quietly pay up.
Often, we never get to hear about the attacks. Big companies get hit, they pay the ransom to get their data back, but the police and us, the public, we're never told.
As long as the money doesn't break sanctions or fund terrorism, it's legal for businesses to pay ransoms.
Just because they're not always reported in the press doesn't say that it doesn't happen. And that might mean that they'll pay it to get their data back, or that the threat actors have stolen really sensitive data, and they don't want that data to be published. So even if they've got their data back, they still might pay the ransom to stop the data from being published on a leak site.
The government has proposed banning public bodies from paying ransoms. Private companies might have to report ransom attacks and get government permission to pay up.
I think the statistics I see sort of vary between 25 to 35% of victims paying. Are there people inside it that want to make a kind of public, moral or ethical stance about not paying? In my experience, that view does not matter that much.
We contacted some high-profile victims of cyber attacks. Adidas, Dior, Travelex, and Marks & Spencer. They all wouldn't comment on whether they had paid a ransom. Harrods and the Co-op said the hackers were stopped before they asked for a ransom.
As far as a ransom is concerned, I mean, we would, in general, discourage victims from paying ransoms. I mean, every victim needs to make their own choice in this, but in general, it is the paying of ransoms which fuels this crime.
Ransom gangs attack where there's a weakness. Schools, hospitals, councils have all suffered. It's not just companies in the firing line, but also our national infrastructure.
This is Blithfield Reservoir in Staffordshire. It looks gorgeous on a day like this, and this water is crucial to the communities that live around here. But the water company that runs this place was hacked.
The cyber attack here shows the global nature of the threat. South Staffordshire Water Company was hacked by a Ukrainian group called Klop. These pictures show the gang being raided by police in 2021. Huge piles of cash were seized. But the following year, Klop was back, stealing 5 terabytes of personal data in the South Staffordshire water attack.
It wasn't the theft of personal data that made this attack different. The hackers said they took control of computer systems that controlled the chemicals in the water.
It was the computer systems inside This Works, seedy mills. Klopp published these screenshots of the water treatment system to show they had control. If the chemical levels had been changed, the water could have been poisoned.
The hackers threatened to contaminate the water that was being provided to individuals. We don't believe they went ahead with that, but it was a threat nonetheless. The trajectory is upwards, and it seems like no organization is off limits for the hackers.
South Staffordshire Water says its investigation concluded the screenshots had been falsified and there was no risk to the public water supply. The company says it did not pay any ransom and it has upgraded cybersecurity. Vital infrastructure, water, power and defence is at risk. A parliamentary committee concluded the UK is unprepared for the high risk of a catastrophic ransomware attack.
Ransomware is one of the most significant cyber threats and crimes facing the UK, and if it continues on its current trajectory, there is probably the risk of a sort of national emergency type incident at some point.
10 days ago, the NCA arrested 4 people in connection with the M&S, Co-op and Harrods attacks.
This year we've seen a rise. So if it continues, I predict it's going to be the worst year on record for ransomware attacks in the UK, for sure.
And the spies trying to stop the attacks at source say all of our data is on the line.
It's incredibly common. I mean, we get in at least one report a day of an organisation being encrypted. There are so many attackers out there targeting organisations all the time that, you know, all you need to do is slip up once and they might find a chink that they can get in.
I think the parliamentary group said the risk of a catastrophic ransomware attack at any moment is close. Is that fair, that we are close to something very significant?
This is why there is a real need for organisations to take seriously cybersecurity, bake it into their decision-making and the governance of them as organisations, and think about cybersecurity in all the decisions they make.
The stakes couldn't be higher. The institutions we all rely on can find themselves under siege from the criminals trying to hold us to ransom.